Please.
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Mayor Robish.
Present. Please join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the agenda approval. I have one I need to add, and that's 10.4 under departmental items, and that will be land purchase. And that's what I have for additions.
Motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to number 3, the city commission adjourns to convene as the Board of Adjustment for the following public hearing. We're gonna go with we have 2 variances tonight. We're gonna, you can answer.
No, not yet.
We're gonna flip-flop them around right now just for a time being. We're gonna go to 3.2. Consider variance request filed by Nathan Fowle on behalf of Prairie Smiles, 1265 Dakota Avenue South, to have signage that is larger than the code allows. I'm gonna turn this over to our city planner, Barry Cranston.
Thank you, Mayor. This is merely an issue of installing some non-lit signs on the south entrance, the south-facing entrance, and the east-facing wall of the business. It faces towards Dakota. Since it's a residential area, it's limited in the amount of signage rather than in a commercial area. There's a lot more aggregate signage allowed. And so we had no opposition to this, and the neighbors were notified, and they had no comment. So we recommend approval.
Okay. I see Nathan's with us here tonight. Anything to add to that, Nathan, or you're all good? Okay. All right, this is just right on the side of the building, so it will not impede on anything, so.
Right, they're shrouded from both sides of the residential areas that the neighbors reside on, I should say.
Sure.
And so there's no illumination that will be cast into the areas of those windows and things. There's no light wash
Sure thing.
at all.
All right, thank you. I guess I need a motion, I guess.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Smith.
Maybe a little more procedural, but, so if this is approved, does that allow for future limitations as far as signage?
If this variance is approved to take it to 74.5 feet, then that's what he's limited to.
Would that, let's say, for example, that they wanted to put up a sign, would that be allowed to go up to 74.5 feet?
No,
If these
this
were taken
is
away?
the aggregate footage, and that
And it's
includes.
Specific to these locations?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
all right. Thank you.
You didn't mention, so I assume there was probably no comment from neighbors.
No, there was no comments received from the neighborhood.
I'm interested, just again, it's more, it probably doesn't have a bearing on my vote, but I'm just interested if this is zoned residential, why we have a commercial business there in the first place? Like, shouldn't we have rezoned the
Actually,
property and then it wouldn't?
no, not necessarily. I mean, the variances are designed to create circumstances for this. We have many situations where residents are in a commercial area too. And so when these areas are designed, for example, the clinic across the street actually was a residential zoned area. And way back, before Dakota Land was on the corner of 14th and Dakota there, that was zoned residential, so.
You can have a healthcare facility
Yeah.
in a residential neighborhood, I believe.
Right.
Per
And
ordinance.
so, depending on the style and some of those kinds of things, yeah, there are uses that are allowable, such as churches in an R2. There are different styles of uses that are allowed for each variant, or each residential zone, so.
I don't think this is, I mean, driving up and down Dakota, obviously, others that we're comparing it to are zone commercial, but clearly the proposed signage that they're looking to add here is
Yeah.
less than what a bunch of other places up and down Dakota would have, so.
Sure.
I certainly can't see where it would be an issue at all.
Nope.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Nathan. Moving up, we're gonna go back up to 3.1. Consider variance request filed by Fast Properties LLC, 1010 Dakota Avenue South, to allow an unattached two-car garage to remain on the property without a residence. Once
I
again,
just got a notice from Jesse Fass, and he has otherwise been detained.
Okay.
So he cannot, he sends his apologies and he cannot be here, so he asked if I could act on his behalf, at least for the purposes of explaining the project. So the fast variance is based on, his intentions to, the property that is directly across the street to across the alley to the east of the dental clinic there. He would like to knock down that house, and then he would like to maintain the garage. He'll have to do some minor repairs to it, but he said generally speaking, it's in good shape. And he currently rents storage space, so that would give him storage space adjacent to the dental clinic so that he could store some things in it and have it more readily available to him. Again, we received no comment from any of the neighbors, and Chris Newman and myself, along with the hearing examiner, all recommended approval.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
okay, any questions or comments for Barry?
One thing I had noted was if we should put a
A covenant?
on that, so that attach it with the property to the west, which would be the actual dental office. So that he couldn't sell that property without coming before this body.
I don't think he would have a big problem with that.
No, I don't believe he would either. It's a relatively simple thing. We have a form in our office that we use to do that with, so I don't believe he would be opposed to doing that at all.
No, and he will, by taking the house down and he will upgrade the garage, and it will,
Yeah,
it will
I'm
improve,
sure he would be willing to do that.
it will improve the property. Okay, any other questions, thoughts?
So would you like to add that covenant to the
The
lots be
requirement?
tied together?
I'll amend my motion to add a covenant tying that to the dental office.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Commissioner Bragg, did you have anything else, or was that?
Okay, I like that. I agree with Commissioner Weinrice. I think that was similar to what I was thinking.
Okay. Yes, sir. Commissioner Smith.
Applicant states in here that he will not use it as a rental property for storage.
That's correct, right?
Does that, is that enforceable for the future as well?
Yes,
So 3 to 5 years down the road?
yes. I mean, because
Things
we don't,
change.
the use is not, that, to allow that use as a storage unit, that's not permitted regardless. And so he couldn't rent it to some person down the street for storage there. That, if we found out, we would send a cease and desist to him, and that would be over.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. The Board of Adjustment adjourns to reconvene as the City Commission. Number 5, public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address for the record. Do we have anything here for public forum? We do have someone in the back. Well, look at this. It's our HR Director, Shauna Starrett.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Shauna Starrett, Human Resource Manager for the city. I just wanted to provide you with a quick update. Last year during the budget process, we budgeted for leadership training for management. we had entered into an agreement with Mitchell Technical College to provide Leadership Academy classes for our management, and our first semester is finished. The first semester was to teach us how to enhance our leadership skills. So I'm just gonna hand out, I'm not gonna go through all this, this is just for your reading pleasure if you can't fall asleep tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
So we had 12 city employees in a management position attend this class. And they are listed towards the bottom half of the sheet. We had Chris Newman, our building inspector, Chad Schroeder, Parks and Recreation Director, myself, Derek Lair, our Chief of Police, Adam Dorr, the Deputy Chief of Police, Brenda Jager, Huron Event Center Manager, Angela Bailey, Huron Public Library Director, Dale Fortin, Solid Waste Superintendent, Jason Brenner, Street Foreman, Doug Peets of Huron Community Campus, Jesse Hayek, our Golf Maintenance Superintendent, and Rod Rieger, our Water Sewer Superintendent. There were 8 different sessions. We met every other week. Overviewed how to collaborate amongst each other by using Teams and OneNote. Took personality tests to see who we work with easily and who we clash with, and how to fix that, how to remedy the clashing. Effective communication, including SMART goals, performance and discipline letters. Using the 5 why analysis to identify problems and to brainstorm a solution. Using combined ideation to break down the problem and identify supporting solutions, action plans, and delegation. Delegation was the one that was the most difficult for everybody in that room, because we want a job done, we wanna just go do it, we wanna do it ourselves, cause then we know it's gonna be done right, and so, it was really good to see everybody come together and have a plan and delegate work out to their employees. And so now we just all have to put our plan into effect. The last, session was our presentation. We each had a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation about a problem that we wanted to solve within our departments and ways to find solutions for that. And I do have copies of some of the PowerPoint presentations, but it was very educational, it was very enlightening. At the end, everybody was very happy compared to day one, like, oh, But it was really neat to see us all working together. So our next semester will start in August. It'd be the same 12 people. And then that semester we will focus on developing a strong leadership culture. So it's gonna emphasize ethics, teamwork, creating an environment where employees feel motivated and engaged, to increase productivity, job satisfaction, and overall performance. So just wanna thank you for seeing the need for this leadership training. And I just want you to know that Dr. Ryan Binzie from Mitchell Technical College is an amazing professor. He did a wonderful job. We had talked to him about doing hybrid, but he came here, he drove here for every class, no matter what the weather. He was here in person, and he was really, really good to work with. And you can tell he has a passion for leadership academy stuff, so. Just
Good
wanted to
deal.
let you know that, okay?
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Shauna before she runs away? Okay, run away. Let's see, that was public forum. Anybody else have anything for public forum?
I have
Okay.
something, Mayor.
Sure.
Just kind of late notice here. As of April 28th, our sales tax report is showing that optimistically throughout the current year in comparison to last year at this time, we're up 15%. Anticipate a lot of it has to do with all the other activities that are going on this year, specifically out at the fairgrounds. That I'm sure has an influence on it. Things are costing obviously a little bit more, but it's a wonderful sign to see it, and hopefully it sustains.
It is a great thing to see, and that is the stuff going on at the fairgrounds obviously, but shopping local, that is the biggest thing that constitutes that. And
Sure.
And that's, we need to drive that home to each other. So, thank you for that report there, Commissioner.
You're welcome, thank you.
Mayor, I suppose I could jump in just quick too and say, just that reminder on the green cans, this is the
Oh, yeah.
last week of April, so still be Wednesday this week, starting next week is the first full week of May, and so that's when we will kick into your green bins being picked up on the same day as your garbage and recycling, so starts
you.
next week.
Thank you for that reminder. Moving on to the consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Our consent agenda consists of 6.1 minutes of May 21, 2025, 6.2 fuel quotes for city departments, 6.3 personnel items. Number 1, recommendation to hire Brian Peterson for a water sewer maintenance uncertified position with a 1,040-hour probationary period. Number 2, accept the voluntary resignation of Police Officer Trevion Smith, effective May 8th, 2025. Number 3, recommendation to update the fire chief job description. And number 4, post internally and advertise for the fire chief position. Number 5, seasonal hiring for parks and recreation and golf maintenance. Moving on to 6.4, consider special on-off sale alcoholic beverage license filed by Broadland Creek Golf Course for a golf invite scheduled for May 16, 17, and 18. 6.5, consider street closing and noise permit submitted by Hearst Corner for a beanbag tournament on June 28th, requesting 2nd Street southwest from Dakota Avenue to the alley to be closed starting at 11 a.m. The noise permit is for music from a speaker during that same time. Doesn't have an ending time, I see, but it starts at 11 a.m. 6.6, application for abatement and/or refund for property taxes. Number 1, Louise Van Pol. Number 2, Kathy Eining and Nathan Stevens. And 6.7, payment of the bills.
Just want to note on the Hearst request, they're setting it up at 11, event starts at 1, and it will conclude before dark, so the road can be opened again.
Oh, well, okay.
Make a motion
Thank
to
you.
approve consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to petitions and communications. Consider a joint powers agreement between South Dakota Game, Fish, and Parks and the City of Huron and authorize the mayor to sign. And we have with us tonight Chad Schroeder, our Parks and Recreation Superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. So this is a joint powers agreement between the City of Huron and South Dakota Game, Fish, and Parks. This is for our rock pod. So this is to remove our existing fishing node at Crown Park, the wooden structure. And this will be to put back in a new concept that Game, Fish, and Parks has been putting in at other area lakes. It's a rock pod, so it'll create fishing all the way around that. And the agreement is that we as a city are going to remove the existing fishing node. Game, Fish, and Parks is gonna take care of all the permitting and all of the construction and all the costs of the new rock pod. And then we will take over the maintenance after that's done through this joint powers agreement. I guess I'm just asking for your approval and authorizing and asking for the mayor to sign.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Schroeder?
Is that, Mayor,
You bet.
so will that be flat with the ground when they get all done and not be elevated like the dock is now? Is that?
That's what my understanding is. We're gonna kinda, that sidewalk comes down, there's a bench on the end of it, and it'll just be that continued, that level, is what it is now. It has not been engineered yet. They have, the Game, Fish, and Parks is gonna use their own engineers to design all of it, and they have to come out and survey and all that stuff yet. But my understanding is it's gonna be match up with the ground level, about right where the sidewalk comes down right now.
I
So,
think the example pictures they showed us, the top surface of the dock will be similar to where the wooden platform is now, because it's like rocks that are stacked up, and then the top is just, we haven't exactly determined that, some sort of a crushed gravel or concrete, substrate, so that you'll have a nice level space on the top, but it'll feel much more natural. But I would believe the existing hill coming down that goes into that wooden structure now, it should be very similar when they do the natural version of it. There will be one of the earlier ones to have it in practice. They have some test units that they've built in areas to show it off, but I think that's part of why they're excited about our project here, is this will be one of the first in practice on a body of water to really show it off.
Okay, anyone else? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Chad.
yep, thank you.
Moving on to 8.2, public hearing. Retail on-off malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for the Matt Casino, 853 21st Street Southwest. City inspector recommends holding license until final inspection is complete. These are gonna be 8.2 and 8.3 are very similar, but they're different. So I'm gonna have Pauline, our finance director, explain the first one.
Thank you. And I can speak to both of them, actually.
Okay.
It's, anymore now with the casinos, they have to have, a separate license for each set of machines and buildings. So they're getting, 21st Casino is getting 2 new licenses to expand their operation out there. We received no comments. The construction is just not finished and changed and inspected by, so, Chris and Ron both recommended to go ahead and approve, get the license coming, and when it's final, they'll let us know. They'll still have to do renewals for July as well. So, we asked for approval on both,
Okay, we're
one
gonna,
at a time.
yeah, we're gonna ask for both, but we're gonna do separately, so.
Make a motion to approve 8.2.
Second.
Any questions or comments on,
Just note
Yes.
that with the city inspector's recommendation of holding the license until final inspection.
sure thing.
Quick question, is the $50 fee per machine, is that already in? I know we talked about that.
It's not in where I'm working on what we got tonight, and then that's my next thing to bring to you guys, is to get one rewritten, yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Probably will be in effect for next year, not this year.
Okay.
For each license we issue, does there have to be a separate employee for that as well, or no?
You know, I'm not totally up to date on all the lottery rules, but there has to be a separate place that they can purchase alcohol, a separate doorway to enter each individual area.
That's kind of what I thought.
But I think you can have one employee running both
Running
operations.
all the stations.
But they, yeah, I do agree.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's compliant or not, so I don't know all their rules.
And you had brought it up before, there's still some question as to
Compliance with others.
who's actually
Right.
overseeing that and whether our existing
Yeah.
other folks are. in
Yeah,
compliance.
speaking with lottery and revenue, they're both working really well together. And, sounds like some places will be grandfathered in, but moving forward, I don't know their date. But they are going to be more strict on the compliance issues with building new casinos attached to one another.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We'll vote on 8.2. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Do we wanna read the heading for 8.3? It's the same address, just,
It's just a different name of the
Yeah,
business.
just the
or-
name of the business is different.
let's do it. Public hearing, retail on-off malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for the Backdoor Casino at 853 21st Street Southwest. So don't come in the front door, come in the back door.
Move for approval on that.
Second.
Any questions on this one? Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to departmental items, 10.1, consider Huron Event Center Management Agreement and authorize the mayor to sign. This is, if you remember back a ways, I'll have Brenda explain this more if we need to, but we extended the contract and because we were working on some equipment and some other stuff and the portable bars and whatever, and so now they have signed, our tenants have signed the agreement, and this is moving forward with that.
Yep, and, I don't know if Brenda wants to talk, but it,
Okay.
we changed
She
the
loves
dates of
to
the
talk.
agreement, so I'll let her, she's the expert.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you. This would mean our management agreement starting May 1, ending December 31st. That'll be in compliance with all of our other city management contracts. So we're just changing the date so everything is on the same page. We did get the water lines installed, the doors, the bars are at Mitchell at Coca-Cola getting put together so we can use the bag-in-the-box syrup. So hopefully they'll be back by the end of the week or the first part of next at the latest. So I think everything's moving forward. Top Floor did sign the agreement, so I'm just asking for approval of signature.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Any other comments, questions for Brenda?
My only comment is, how did you get a plumber to get that work done?
She's our go-to gal right now. All right, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. 10.2, presentation of the unaudited financial statements for the year 2024. Finance Director Pauline Carey.
Yes, thank you. Not a lot of different things. One thing I just wanna note, the audit does start tomorrow. They'll be here for the whole week, so we're excited about that, to be honest. Hopefully get that done earlier than July. This is just our first version of it, then they come and audit it. One thing to note is, debt service is on the very back page of that. In the packet, it's page 72. We have, what we call revenue bonds, the sales tax bonds, the obligated bonds there, 7.8 million. You know, you can see we paid off debt at the end of this year, or 2024 was 7.6 million. And then it's down below is what we call the enterprise funds, water and sewer, and solid waste. So those bonds are all now included in these numbers. At the end of 2024, it's 10,816,411. The other thing to note for just interest, not that you guys really wanna look, but you'll probably hear from the auditors as well, is on the, when you see the, due from other government on page 68, 72, is the proprietary net position. Under the water and sewer, you can see some large numbers there, 2.7 million, 1.2 million. That was our money at the end of the year that was due to us from ARPA, just so you know. We have received those funds in March, but they do show on there as accounts receivable. So just a note to look at. I asked for approval. We will publish and send on to the state, and again, the audit starts tomorrow.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further questions, or do you wanna wait till next week? All right, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 10.3, Huron Community Campus, raising fees to HCC students for the fall of 2025. And we have with us tonight Doug Peets, our superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is something that we started back in about January, and it's been kind of a domino effect to get to this point. Everybody knows that we deal with an MOU in Northern State University for the undergraduate classes and our graduate classes that we have. Part of the agreement that we're operating under right now, which goes through the summer of 25, is that all the students pay a support fee of $20 to the city of Huron Northern State University invoices us back for $10 per credit hour for the classes that the students take. So one of the things that we've been working on with Northern State is to streamline the process. Right now, I get 6 or 7 invoices from Northern each semester. We work through them with Huron College Foundation paying part of them, the city of Huron paying part of them. So we're trying to streamline the whole process just a little bit. And so as part of streamlining that process is to just have Northern collect the fees that the student owes as compared to Huron Community Campus collecting those fees. Well, in order for Northern to collect those fees, we have to start following underneath some Board of Regents requirements for fees. Their reduced tuition fee for satellite campuses is $31.85 per credit hour. Okay, and so if we want Northern State University to collect that fee, of which then the city would invoice back, half of that would come back to the city, we need to follow the Board of Regents policy. So this would bring us into line with what the Board of Regents has out there for other institutions for the satellite campuses that they have across the state. Black Hill State is doing it, USD has a satellite campus, so we're just falling in line. And this is all under Section 1 of responsibilities of the MOU. So when we started this in January, talking to Northern, because we knew this MOU would be coming up for renewal, first of all, we had to get the Board of Regents to approve that rate and approve it for satellite campuses, which happened in April. Now I'm coming to you guys to get your approval, since this is a city fee that we assess onto the students. So if you guys approve this, that'll be that part of it, and then we can continue to move forward with other MOU things so that we can bring you back a complete packet sometime this summer for approval of the complete packet. But I wanted approval of this first so that you knew what those fees were. This fee gets approved, and then I can go ahead and continue on with the conversation with Northern as far as these fees are concerned.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
Move to approve the raising the fees. I guess it's not an MOU at this point.
No, it's
Raising
not,
the
it's
fees.
just the fee part of the MOU.
Second.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, any questions, comments?
Got a couple.
Commissioner Weinreich?
So where is this coming from? Is it, we want them to invoice it and that's where they started at? Or is this, where did the wanting to raise it to $31 come from?
Part of it is me, I want to get out of the collection business. Since I am not a state employee, I'm not a Northern State employee, any academic records, student rosters, any of those things, I can't see. So I'm assessing a fee to students that theoretically, I don't know they're in classes. When students pay tuition, they do it through the online system, it's MyNSU, that collects all tuition. It would be so much easier. It gets really cumbersome when a student comes to class and say, okay, go to MyNSU and pay your tuition, but a separate transaction has to happen where you're paying me a fee. And it's really tough for me to track that, where this would streamline that. It would eliminate one invoice coming to us. Instead, we would get the opportunity to bill back Northern for every student that's taking classes. They have the class roster. They have the attendance confirmation of the students. They know what students are taking what classes, and it just makes that whole process so much more streamlined. And once again, so when I went to Northern with this concept or idea, they said, well, if we're collecting a fee, then it has to include the Board of Regents. And so that opened the door to us going through the Board of Regents with that.
My next question is, so it's gonna cost the same, cause you said it's a minimum $31.85 for all of these other satellite, yep. So we're gonna be the same price as it would be if you went.
Fee,
Right?
not tuition.
For the
Tuition's
credit
a
hour.
separate animal.
Yep.
Yep,
So it's the same fee at any one of the locations.
yeah, for their satellite campuses.
Campus.
They could charge more. but that's the
Minimum.
minimum, yes, that's the floor that the Board of Regents sets underneath that. Cause, you know, we all know that, universities like fees from parking passes to activity fees to
And did
whatever
you-
else they can.
Did
come
you
up
do
with.
the math to figure out what, how much on average it's gonna be in cost the student?
A class will cost $215.55.
The increase of you going from 20 to 31.
I,
Like, what's the average, you said, you know, what is the credit, per credit hour
yep,
is $31.
so 3185 times 3 would
Per
be the
class.
fees onto it, plus the $40 per credit hour tuition, or $120. So a class is $215, so,
For a class, 3 credits, it's an additional $35.55.
Okay.
I mean,
Over the 20.
And as you said, this is not the tuition, which is separate from that, but.
Correct.
But in terms of our fees and tuition, could you compare us to what students would be paying if they went elsewhere? And then
Yeah.
this has been, both the tuition and the fee have been in place without changing since the inception of the HCC, is that correct?
correct,
So
Correct.
how long has that been?
12 years.
And what would a student pay if they elected to do the same thing at another satellite facility?
$800. And that's a conservative. And on online classes, 1,015-ish, and there is no fees on an online class, that's just tuition, so.
So
Yeah.
to Commissioner Weinreich's point, I think he was getting at, we should still feel very confident that our facility represents a significant value for students.
A significant value. Yeah, yeah, and we've been working really hard with, the dual credit part of it, you know, it's been a big thing, and dual credit's quite an animal, out there, and we're still cheaper than the reduced 50% dual credit fee that high school students are paying for college classes. So we're still under that by about $50, to figure it that way.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Peets? We need a roll call vote.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roach.
Aye. Thank you, Doug.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to a work session tonight. 10.4, we have a land purchase, and I'm gonna let Commissioner Bragg, do a little explaining on this.
Yeah, I'll try, and I think either Chad or Pauline can jump in, but this is on that, purchase of the Stony Run land that, from Dirkson's, that we've already had approved. The city attorney has, should have the remaining title work done soon, so we're looking at next Monday potentially being able to have the authorization to complete that purchase. But part of what Pauline wanted us to give an update on is, you know, the initial proposal was that if private investors donated $75,000, that the city would match $75,000 to give a total pool of money to draw from, to make the purchase, to do the titling, to do all of the prep work for that site, at $150,000. So we have one of our donors, has $5,000, which their institution has some freezes in right now in their funding, so they have not been able to pay their $5,000 yet. So $70,000 has been received, the checks have actually come in, and this remaining $5,000 is from an institution that we're confident will do it, but at this point, because of the freezes, they haven't been able to. So part of what Pauline wanted, we've already approved this purchase, but just since the specific condition of it was that we'll have 75 and the city will match 75. With the 70 we have and the city doing the match, we still have more than enough to make the land acquisition, but we just wanted to be clear on that before we had it on the, to approve for next Monday. And the other piece is too, just looking within that, Pauline also had asked us to get a little clarification specifically on how you folks interpret, you know, we raised up to 150 with the idea that would cover all of the site work, prep work, the plating, the surveying, the title insurance, and we are going to be under that. Part of what Chad has looked into, if you guys recall, we talked about the SDSU, is it an architecture class? Is that what it is?
Landscape architecture.
Landscape architecture class, taking that on as a class project, that has a cost of $5,000. You know, I guess Chad and I were under the understanding that that would still be for layout and prep of the land. So our thinking was that if there's enough money, which there should be, that we feel like that expense could also come out of that same dollar amount, but just because that was right on the edge of, you know, what you would consider site work and prep work, Pauline had asked us to bring you all up to speed, just to make sure there was no question on that. Is that fair?
Yes, thank you.
You want that in a form of a motion?
I don't know that do we need
I
it?
think we already have the
Yeah.
authorization to purchase the land, it's just kinda seeing now what the 5,000 is short, but we're gonna cover that till we can get those funds, and that the remainder of the funds will cover the,
And we don't have, we're not ready to close yet anyway, so it would be next Monday. So I don't think we necessarily needed action, but we wanted everybody to be aware of where we're at on it, just for an update.
I have no concern with that.
Okay, yeah, that's more or less for informational than action taken, yeah.
Everybody's good with all that stuff is.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see your sign in there, that's good. All right, so with that, that's the business that we have for tonight. We're going to